Hello, Ross Madden here. Thanks for joining me. This is just going to be a quick one on the Facebook hearing, which is coming up next Wednesday, April 11th. The House Committee on Energy and Commerce and the Senate Committee on Commerce and Science, I think, will be interviewing Zuckerberg or whoever. I believe Zuckerberg and a few other Facebook executives. We really need to look into the members of these committees because many of these politicians have a dog in this fight. There are a couple senators trying to pass some online political advertising regulations, which would be terrible for the truth movement because the 2018 and 2020 elections offer a massive opportunity, financial opportunity for the truthers, because we have a platform that a lot of these politicians are going to want to spend money on getting their ads in front of people to get out the vote. So any regulations that they can pass right now to limit the advertising that the truth movement gets, that's going to limit our ability to spread the truth and get truth politicians into office, which is critical if we want to make change on a political level. So let's go ahead and get into it. There's a bill that senators are trying to pass. I'm going to go ahead and read parts of that to you. This is the Honest Ads Act, sponsored by Senators Amy Klobuchar, Mark Warner, and John McCain. Endorsements by Campaign Legal Center, the Sunlight Foundation, Issue 1, Brennan Center for Justice, Common Cause, and Public Citizen. The summary goes, this bill would improve our democracy, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read this all. The proposed legislation accomplishes this by requiring digital ads to meet the same disclaimer requirements as analogous print or broadcast ads, as well as by subjecting the largest online platforms to the similar transparency and reporting obligations as required of broadcast cable and satellite providers that sell political ads. Background: a combination of statutes, FEC rules, and FCC rules currently create a robust disclaimer and public access framework for political advertisements disseminated by broadcast cable and satellite providers. However, digital providers like Facebook, the nation's largest digital platform whose 210 million American users are nearly 10 times as large as the subscriber base of the largest cable or satellite provider, face significantly fewer obligations. This next paragraph's anti-Russian propaganda. I'm not going to waste your time. You can read it if you want. The dramatic increase in digital political advertisements. $1.4 billion was spent on online political ads during the last election, and the growing centrality of digital platforms in the lives of Americans requires Congress and the FEC to take meaningful action to ensure that laws and regulations provide fundamental accountability and transparency. So the first part of this bill is a disclosure requirement. I assume that's going to make online advertisements have to do this is paid for by John McCain. The second part of the bill is an expansion of public file requirement. Digital platforms with 50 million or more unique monthly visitors for a majority of the months during the preceding 12 months would be required to maintain a complete record of political advertisements by a purchaser whose aggregate requests to purchase qualified political advertisements on that platform within the preceding 12 months exceeds $500. Does this include YouTubers? This could include Steven Crowder. Crowder probably gets 50 million on his website. So if he wants to collect $500 in advertising over a year, he's going to have to report it to the FEC and maintain a complete record of political advertisements on his website. While disclaimers are required for electioneering communications and public communications, a separate but overlapping statutory regime determines whether an ad triggers a political file obligation. Our proposed legislation uses this existing statutory definition of political ad to determine whether an ad triggers the political file obligation. Our proposed legislation uses this existing statutory definition of political ad to determine what triggers an analogous political file obligation for digital platforms. The record must be made available online in machine-readable format, largely mirroring existing rules for broadcast cable and satellite providers. This record would include a digital copy of the advertisement, a description of the audience the ad targets, the average rate charged for the ad, the name of the candidate, office, or legislative issue to which the ad refers, if applicable, and the contact information of the purchaser. If the online platform fails to comply with this requirement, or the advertiser causes an online platform to make available false, inaccurate, or incomplete information about its political ads, they will be subject to penalties imposed by the FEC consistent with current law. Wow. That's huge. Reasonable efforts on foreign interference. Finally, this legislation would require that all advertising platforms, whether broadcast, radio, or digital, make reasonable efforts to ensure that the foreign participation ban, which broadly prohibits foreign nationals from attempting to influence elections through donations, expenditures, or other things of value, is not violated. So this is coming from Zero Hedge. Facebook gave money to 85% of House committee questioning Zuckerberg next week. Facebook and affiliated political groups have donated heavily to members of 2 committees set to interview CEO Mark Zuckerberg next week, according to analysis from Center for Responsive Politics via USA Today. So there's 2 committees interviewing Zuckerberg next week. Since 2007, the social media giant has contributed a cumulative $381,000 to 46 of 55 members of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, which will hear Zuckerberg on Wednesday. While the average committee members receive between $6,750 and $6,800, the committee chair, Greg Walden, Republican from Oregon, received $27,000, and top-ranking Democrat, Frank Pallone of New Jersey, received $7,000 from Facebook. Representative Anna Eshoo, Democrat from California, whose district is adjacent to Facebook's headquarters and home to many Facebook employees, received the most from Facebook at $55,150 since 2007. Eshoo narrowly lost a battle with Pallone for ranking Democrat position on the committee in 2014. Walden and Pallone announced Zuckerberg's appearance on Wednesday to testify on critical consumer data privacy issues. That's what this is about. Data privacy issues, not this Amy Klobuchar, John McCain advertising bill. That has nothing to do with web scraping Facebook. The other conflict of interest that Zero Hedge gets into is the fact that a lot of these senators and representatives own Facebook stock. I'm just going to read you a few of these names and how much money they have in Facebook stock. Senator John Hoeven, $50,000. Joe Kennedy, $81,000. Jim Lavingren, $115,000, 5,000 capital gains. Representative Michael McCall, $1 million, 30,000 capital gains. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, $500,000. That's her husband's, apparently. She thinks that doesn't subject her to a conflict of interest. It absolutely does. Representative James B. Renicky, $150,000. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, $31,000. So we got to take these committee meetings with a grain of salt, and we can't let them run away with regulations. I will definitely be tuning in Wednesday, and if anything interesting happens, I will do a report and get back to you on it. My final ask is that you go to exposethedeepstate.com. That's my website, my Deep State Wikipedia website, where I document the deep state actors' crimes one at a time. It's a really big project. I could really use your help. You can send me information, and I will curate it and post it if it's good. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.